Well, good morning. Beautiful morning. I thought I'd just tell you something that happened the other morning. I've been having sitting here on this same log, uh, meditating and talking to God, and of course I realised that once again I'd been the one who's doing all the talking, not the listening. So I said to God, I said, "Okay, yours. I'll leave it to you now. You can talk to me, how, and give me that listening ear." Well, I sat here and I sat here and I was listening to the birds' songs and all the background noises and didn't really hear anything as such. Didn't feel that any feeling that God was talking to me. And so often I think we don't recognise Him when He does talk, do we? But anyway, long as the long and the short of it, or whatever they call it, is I came away and got up off my log, picked up my stick and Harry's lead and called Harry, and I turned, and as I turned I looked down at the ground, and there at my feet was a little ball of dry grass, dried leaves, twigs, horsehair, and suddenly realised it was the makings of a nest. Probably a bird had flown by and dropped it on its way to building its nest in the hedge or the trees, and it dropped it right at my feet. And I suddenly realised that God was talking to me in that little ball of dried leaves and horsehair and grass and twigs, by saying that He would provide. God does provide. Oh yeah, the little bird had to do the work. It had to be out and picking up the grass and the twigs and the finding the horsehair in the fields and the hedgerows. But God had provided those things, those materials for that bird to make a nest. And I'm sure after I'd gone, he would have been back and attempted to pick it up. It was quite a big, quite a little clump of fur, but I'm pretty sure that's all it was. It was the makings of a bird's nest on its way to making of a bird's nest. So I'm pretty sure that little bird would have picked it up. But I think that's what God was telling me. There are certain things in this world now at the moment that where we do need a bit of provision, don't we? We need to see God providing. And there's so many things He does provide us with. It's just recognising and going into action and putting things into action. Yeah. There's people who are finding things very difficult at the moment. And as Christians, we are called to help and serve our fellow neighbours, our friends, and those people in need. Because sometimes people get into that spiral, and it's very difficult to climb back out when you haven't got resources and things. So yeah, as Christians we need to help provide some of those things, point them in the right direction. I always think that some of these things that Christian Aid and the charities across the world are doing, they don't just provide the money, they provide people with the know-how, how to do things, how to help themselves. And that is what we all need to do, isn't it? We need to take on board the things that we can do and look around us and see the things that God has provided us with. Like the little bird. The bird just finds those things. They're there and he found them. And for us as human beings, we too have been provided with so much by God. All we need to do is find them, seek them out, collect them, and make use of them. And I think that's all I want to say today, because I think that's the biggest thing that God can do, that we can do, is to recognise the provisions that God provides us with. Recognise the resources that we're all given, and recognise that some are given more than others, and how to use those resources to help those who are really struggling, because there are people struggling now, and they will be struggling for some time, I think, as we come out of this pandemic thing. It's not going to be easy. Some people are really going to be on that spiral downwards, and probably already at the bottom. What we've got to point out to them is that even though they seem to be at the bottom of the pit, Jesus is there. Jesus is there. He will lift them out of that pit. He will lift them out through actions of ourselves, like us, those who are more fortunate. So, yeah, just a few thoughts. But just remember those little birds making their nests. We comb Harry every so often and put his hair up in the trees and in the hedge, and we watch from our kitchen window and see the little birds coming along and taking great tufts. Some of them look quite comical because they look as if they've got a moustache like me. Anyway, that's another, just a sideline, isn't it? So, but just remember, let us remember how much God does provide us. God bless.